This is quite clear with a topping formation breakdown from this up channel. This uptrend at least come to an end going into a sideways market, if not a reversal. The sign of weakness comes with increasing supply and also very volatile. Look at all these big spread bar and the impulsiveness coming down. And right after it break below the 200-day MA, so the red line indicates the 200-day moving average. And after that, it becomes a resistance that's reflected right here. Last session, we talked about this is becoming a resistance level, attempt to test this axis line, have a reversal immediately on Wednesday. Wednesday comes with slight increase of the supply and further rejection and have a follow through to the downside coming down, forming this sideways movement. We have this impulsive down move, automatic rally. Currently, here is the trading range. Sideways market. Yesterday, there is a weakness show up, but the traders, the investors bought the dip. They bet on a potential rebound and look at the spike of the volume. The demand come in when there is a selling on the way down. They provide the support right there. The structure seems like a sign of weakness, automatic rally and secondary test. This is a potential sideways movement, but it could have undercut this and attempt to rally. It could still form some lower low testing. We're still yet to see the subsequent price action based on the supply level. What we can see is a decreasing of the supplies overall. We do not really have excessive supply like we had before, especially this point, once it's breakdown and on the way down. Even though we have a reversal bar on Wednesday, Thursday rejection, Friday follow through to the downside, the supply only have a localized increase effect. Not that threatening. That is the only bullish factor from the chart. Apart from that, the demand is still relatively weak and we still need to see whether we'll have some selling into strength. Since yesterday price action, this is a demand tail and a bullish bar. We could anticipate another attempt to rally up. If we could have an attempt to rally and to commit above 5750, means a commitment above this last commitment bar to the downside. Let's see whether it could have some follow through and come in above and to test the swing high to bounce out from there. This is still relatively good price action, show some resiliency. If not, another potential bearish scenario would be keep creating lower low, bouncing up and to have a lower high, lower low structure. We already have a lower high, which was something that we discussed 2 weeks ago. The intent of the rebound is to create a lower high. We already see lower highs form. The lower low is another question. So do we get a lower low form yet? Not really so far. It could have another sideways movement coming. It still need to develop its own structure, but based on the supply level, this is not that threatening yet. Supply is not that excessive, and we don't really have a lot of the sell into strength, especially when it's testing the 200-day MA. Look at this bullish bar coming above the 200-day MA and followed by fading of the demand. Look at how weak is the demand. Demand has been fading and followed by localized increase of the supply. That's why it forms an ease of movement to the downside. It doesn't really take a lot of the supply to hit the price to bring it down. This is normal supply level rather than excessive supply like we had before. Compared to the swing from February to March, this is still relatively low supply. We could still have some choppiness forming the trading range or even a downsloping type of the trading range, forming a lower high and lower low structure throughout. What we want to monitor is the right hand side of the chart. This is still too early. This is still a pullback correction. The next meaningful support zone would be around 52 to 5300. We have discussed this last time. This is a much more meaningful support zone. If we could have some shortening of the trust to the downside and close to this meaningful support zone with decreasing of the supply, that would be constructive before we see a bottoming structure. This is still has a lot of work to do in order to bottom from this structure.